there are other actors in this film that are playing Egyptians that do not look like Cleopatra or come from there. And I just feel like the energy being focused on Cleopatra is why some people are pushing back.
Where are the Egyptian actors? Where are the Arab actors who suppose it? And the thing is, even like historically wise, you see in the trailer, it's like, I don't care what they told you, but Cleopatra was black. Who's that woman? Why is African American people are telling my own history? She is there's all of these pseudoscience and pseudo history has been going on, and it has implications. No, I am sorry. African people from West Africa did not build the pyramids. Okay. Cleopatra did not like that, and also Jewish people do not build the pyramids.
What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from The Quartering, and it does kind of feel a little bit like the tides, they might be a-changin'. At least more often, maybe not more often than not even, but more often it seems like people who are sick and tired of woke crap are pushing back and having an impact. We know this obviously from Bud Light. Miller Lite's disastrous ad this morning. If you haven't seen my video on that, you're going to want to see that. And on top of that, some more of these woke TV shows and movies are taking it on the chin in the box office. People have kind of tuned out of superhero movies and a wide variety of other things like that. So it's going to be interesting to see. Disney, by the way, losing millions of subscribers last quarter. I believe the number was 4 million, having their stock tank. People are getting sick of it. And, you know, money's tightening up. So people are a lot less likely to deal with crap, especially when it could save them a few bucks a month to walk away. So Netflix, on top of news over the weekend that they're cutting back content, had perhaps their biggest disaster in history, and we're here to talk about it. This video is sponsored, of course, by Meta PCs. Link will be in the description. Promo code TheQuartering, one word, will save you money. I worked with them to put together some samples, like a good, better, best, Insano build. Meta PC is veteran-owned, non-woke, apolitical company. It's the computer I'm on right now. It's the computer my assistant uses. It's the laptop I use. It's a computer I recommend to friends and family. They can also do custom builds from the ground up. So stop on over to their site, go to the chat box in the bottom, talk to one of their salespeople, tell them The Quartering sent you. They love hearing that. Race swapped Cleopatra earns 1% Rotten Tomatoes audience score. That is literally an all-time record low. I don't believe you can have 0% on Rotten Tomatoes. I can't say this for sure, but I don't think it has a 1.1 out of 10. It is the lowest rated show on the website. The Netflix show, this is via Sarah Higdon over at the Post Millennial. The Netflix show Queen Cleopatra was released on Wednesday to abysmal ratings. As of the publication, the show has over 2,500 audience reviews on Rotten Tomato for an aggregate score of 1%. That is the lowest possible score on the website. There you go. The show also has an average critic score of 11%, with only 1 out of 9 critics giving it a favorable rating. With over 35,000 reviews on IMDb, Queen Cleopatra has a rating of 1.1 out of 10 among the lowest rated shows listed on the website. Now, to be clear, here's what happens with the critics, okay? A couple of things here. We know, if you're unaware, they made Cleopatra black for diversity, apparently. You know, data shows Queen Cleopatra was not, in fact, black. But Netflix doesn't care about that. Jada Pinket-Smith, I think, was involved, so there's that. I think. I could be wrong about that. First, on the critics. The reason there is only 9 critics is because generally when something is woke and also bad, woke critics purposely don't review it. We saw this happen with Seth Rogen and Sarah Silverman's anti-Christian whatever woke holiday cartoon, right? I think only a handful of critics reviewed that. Normally, there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of critics that review things. This had just 9 of them, and only 1 of them reviewing it positively. The docudrama about ancient Egyptian queen was subject to controversy prior to being released due to a black woman portraying Cleopatra. According to CBS, Egyptians were not happy with the producers for appropriating their culture and rewriting history. Based. Since the film is classified as a documentary and not a drama, those making the film have to be accurate, and it should be based on historical and scientific facts to ensure the history and civilizations are not falsified. The Egyptian ministry said, The rejection of the film before its screening was in defense of the history of Queen Cleopatra and has nothing to do with racism. We all know that there was actually a lawyer that sued them over it. Quote, I didn't think people would talk about it. I didn't think people would be excited about it, Cleopatra actress Adele James told Glamour. There are versions of Cleopatra that exist already with actresses in the role that are fairer skinned than I am, but I think I have every right to have a shot at humanizing this incredible woman. And, I think the thing is, we saw Netflix also notoriously having a show, I believe, called Queen Elizabeth. No, was it Anne Boleyn that was black? It was one of those two. Why? When you want to make up like a show that's not based in history and truth, and you want to cram all the diversity and inclusion you want into it, that's fine. You better be a good show. Maybe focus on that first. Netflix's Queen Cleopatra has Egypt. We already know why Egypt rejected it. And you see Forbes, Netflix's Queen Cleopatra appears to have the worst audience score in TV history. Here, Paul Tassi, let's hear him call everyone racist. While I heard about the controversy surrounding Netflix's docudrama Queen Cleopatra, I hadn't been tracking it much since it was already released a few days ago. It's number 6 in Netflix's top 10 list, and I don't think I've seen it go all that much higher than that. We'll also remember that list is curated by Netflix. That's not really based on how many people are viewing it, just like Twitter trending was and probably still is. However, the show has done something I didn't think it was even possible. It not just the lowest audience score in Netflix history, it essentially has the lowest audience score possible on Rotten Tomatoes. 1%, not 10, a 1 update. It just ticked up to 2, still an unprecedented low. There aren't many critic reviews in, but those are low as well, sitting at 13%. I've previously written about a series with low Netflix review scores. The last time I broached the topics with Netflix's now canceled Resident Evil adaptation scored a 22% with fans, one of the lowest I'd ever seen on the service. That was low compared to other high-profile Netflix misses, like Jupiter's Legacy, Space Force, Haters Back Off, Resident Evil Infinite, with a 39%. Fans usually rate things higher than critics, even bad shows, and the point being a 1% audience score seems borderline mathematically impossible, even with the controversy the film had attracted. The issue is a conceptualization of what purports to be a historical documentary saying Cleopatra was a black African queen. As the season was supposed to be the first in a series covering different queens from the continent, but there is not terribly credible evidence that Cleopatra was in fact black, and instead she was Macedonian Greek descent. The country of Egypt in particular has taken offense to the show altering their history this dramatically and portraying it as something they believe is non-factual in a series that is meant to be a documentary. Well, yeah. I mean, I think that's true. He also wrote, curiosity got the better of me given the extremely low scores, which had to be more than simply just the main controversy surrounding the show. If it was at least good, it would have had some scores offsetting that. It's not a huge shock to report the show is, in fact, not good. While historical accuracy aside, Cleopatra Adele James is actually quite good in the part from what I saw. I can only do about part of the first episode before I remembered I had 12 other shows that were better to watch. The entire thing comes off like one of those bad historical reenactment dramas I used to watch on the History Channel with my parents as a kid. The information, often inaccurate seems, is also very dull, and the entire thing feels like a dry soap opera. I'm not shocked that critics are rejecting it alongside fans, not even mentioning the issue of Cleopatra's casting. Well, this is not news. This is not new either, by the way. Netflix reportedly plans to cut $300 million in spending this year. This on top of massive layoffs that they've had as well. The company urged staff earlier this month to be sensible with their spending, including in relation to hiring, but noted that there would be no hiring freeze or additional layoffs. It's worth noting that although Netflix plans to cut costs by $300 million this year, the number represents a small fraction of the company's overall expenses of nearly $26 billion. I think Netflix, desperately needs another hit. I think they need another Squid Games, or they need another, the thing is, season 2 of Squid Games will never be as popular as season 1. Maybe I'll be wrong about that, but I think Squid Games was perfect as a single one-off series. Given how popular it was, obviously I'm not surprised that they, wanted to extend it with additional seasons, but it didn't really need it. It was perfect as it was. And the thing is, Netflix is still doing quite well in terms of stock. In an effort to lower costs, Netflix conducted a series of job cuts last year. It cut about 150 in May, and then a month after that, they laid off 300 more people, then 30 more in September. Not a huge amount. Netflix's password sharing crackdown is expected to hit the U.S. on or before June 30th. Now, that is going to be the biggest thing, right? For a lot of people, Netflix just isn't, I don't know how much it is a month, $12.99, maybe $15.99 if you want 4K or something like that, which is absurd that they charge more for that. But this is something that is probably going to have a bigger impact, because once people have to start paying full price for it, people talk about the one side of the coin, the freeloaders. I certainly have some freeloaders on my account, which I'm happy to have, especially because, they're my parents in some cases, allegedly, hypothetically in Minecraft. But there's also like the people who are paying for it that are still paying for it because they have freeloaders. And there's a lot of those too. And when they can't have freeloaders anymore, or they're not splitting the bill, are they going to stick around and pay the additional money for Netflix? Well, with more shows like Queen Cleopatra, I sincerely doubt it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you leave a like on it. If you haven't yet, subscribe down below, and we'll talk to you again real soon.